Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. I'd like to take on the subject matter that concerns America's warriors, those who have gone into the military to serve, to do the purpose for which the military has been created, to protect this nation. You know, when you think about these guys, some of them, you would look at them and say that they were born to be soldiers. They go into the military, they go in ready to command, and they lead, and they end up getting good pay grades. And this is a thing for them. They've always seen it, they've dreamed it, now it's realized. And for those others that go into the military, there are various reasons why people go. Some go because they want to serve their country. They want to know deep down that they put in the sweat, that they put in the drive to protect, or to be in a position to do whatever they are told to do, guided to do in the protection of this nation. Doesn't matter whether they're in the Navy, traveling the seas, or whether they're in the airmen flying the skies, whether they're in the Marines or in the Army or in the Special Forces. A lot of guys go into the military to be Special Forces, to be good at the arts, the craft of combat. And then there are those who join in just to perhaps pick up a trade, to get an education, to try to benefit from some of the programs that are being offered to them for committing themselves to service. And then there are some who perhaps go in looking and hoping that they really get killed. Well, all of these reasons people go into the military. And they serve the country well. Some of them go into battle, not all of them, but many of them do. They put up weapons, they take up weapons. And they kill and they maim and they get killed and they become maimed. All of this for the protection of the American people. And there have been many conflicts which have not been that popular. One that we think of is Vietnam, where guys came home and it was like they weren't welcome. They were sort of looked down upon. But they only took what their commander said do, and that's what they did. And they don't understand why these things happen. And yet there are still conflicts that have come about since then. In Iraq and other places where men put their lives on the line. They come back, some of them with limbs missing, arms missing, some shrapnel all in within their bodies, some blind, and having dogs that have to help them throughout the rest of their lives. All kinds of things, but they are still here, still alive, and we look at them and we say, thank you for your service. We really honor you. And then there are those who perhaps dove on a grenade to protect their fellow brothers, and took the grenade themselves and survived it. And they get credited by going and the president putting a Purple Heart perhaps around his neck. It's great honor. And these men from the beginning of our nation who have served in the war up until the present time have all given of their time, given of their service, and they've all had to experience some of the same things that were happening yesterday, or some of the same things that are happening today. And we find some of them not getting the kind of health care they need, not getting the kind of treatment that they need. Some of them living in substandard housing, some living in the streets, some vagabonds. These men who you say gave of their lives to protect you so that you can go to events, so that you can go to church, so that you can assemble yourselves and express yourselves in your freedoms. These men and women, these, yes, men and women. Now let me just contrast that with another group of men that probably around the same age as these young men who went into the military and served their country well and did what they were told to do. Now these group of men, they didn't go into the military. They stayed on in school and they played sports. They played football, they played basketball, they played golf, they played tennis, they were swimming. They were doing all kinds of physical, athletic activities. And they mastered them well. And rather than go and protect your freedoms, protect your rights, they benefited from the protection of others who gave their lives. And here is how you reward them. You give them multi-million-dollar contracts to entertain you. Multi-million-dollar contracts to entertain you in basketball, to entertain you in football, in golf, in baseball, to entertain you. Multi-million-dollar contracts. And these brothers and sisters who put their lives on the line to protect you so that you can enjoy these kinds of freedoms are sleeping in the streets, having their legs and stuff blown off and having to struggle out in life like nobody cares. Now, I just said that because that really is a picture that many people see when it comes down to guys who have committed themselves. And I want to say to you, there is a better way. There's another way. And I'm speaking, ladies and gentlemen, to you now, all of you. When I bring these thoughts to you, I'm not trying to condemn anybody to the sense of criminal. I'm not trying to get anybody arrested. I'm not trying to get anybody persecuted. I'm not even trying to make anybody look ugly and look bad. All I want to do is tell you that there is another way. There is a way that does not end up like this, where there is crime and violence. There is a way that does not end up like this, where there's terrorism and war and hatred and bigotry. There is another way. See, this way operates on the premise, and listen to me well. This operates on the premise that people are special. Like the Queen, for instance. The Queen feels as though she is somebody, some royalty, above all other women. And all other women agrees with her. They hold her in that esteem. And so on and so forth with the king and prince. They're somebody to the world. The Pope comes to town and almighty, somebody. And this is the way we have been trained to be. And this is the way we are. But there is another way that says all of these people who we have held in high esteem before we were absent knowledge, now with knowledge we see them as people just like us, made just like us, from the same source just like us, just as important as we are but no more, and have a purpose just like we do. Now, they have been victims as we are victims. They have been led to believe that what they are doing is right. We have been led to believe that it's okay whether we like it or not. We got to try a different kind of way to deal with it. We've been trained that way. But there's another way that says that's wrong. And the only way it exists because there's somebody that's trying to perpetrate it. and got a lot of support, and other folks who might not agree with it will go along with it. That's the only way it exists. And the only way to stop it is to not go along with it. That's the only way to stop it, is to not go along with it. Now, we have allowed it to go on for so long till they are ready to take these same young men, young ladies, who they have trained to protect their property, to protect them from any force, foreign or domestic, and utilize that same force that they exercised on foreign land on we, the people. This is the system in which we live, not here only in America, but I'm sure all over the earth. They got a line drawn in the mind. You don't cross it. If you do, you got to go. So, you are soldiers. You have been putting your life on the line. Now I want you to think about this. Think about how you have been treated. And think about how you